Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Nashville. I'm in the booth with Brian, David Marshall, and Randy Bueller, and we are underway in the finals of this team Grand Prix. It's limited, it's team draft, so the decks are going to be maybe a little rough around the edges, but not too bad. Paulo, Vitor, Damo, Rosa is going to kick things off with a smoke teller.
You talked to him. Oh, thank you, Paulo. Creatures belong in the red zone when they're attacking. It's just so much easier to follow what's going on.
I feel a sense of palpable relief. All right, but let's focus on the game here. Jacob Wilson has a decent start with a Mardu Hateblade, but a nice 2-3 curve for Paulo, Vitor, Damo, Rosa. And
I sense a raid trigger.
Raid trigger feels like it's in the air, does it not? What do we got? Mardu Horde Chief. So one of the better 3 drops here for Jacob Wilson to play, but I gotta say that the start from Paulo is really strong here and very good against this type of start. Like, he can eventually trade off his smoke tiller for the Hateblade if he finds that desirable. And the
I think we're just going to see
a little outlast here. Yeah.
Looks like he's got another Tuskguard in his hand.
He does have 2. We saw him draft them both very highly. I think both second picks are somewhere in that range, and rightfully so.
With Smoke Teller playing trunk to either side of the tusks.
By the way, the artwork on Tuskguard Captain is sweet.
A judge tumble in the background.
Yeah, they're breaking down some of the stage and stuff, and apparently the judges.
You're not supposed to take the judges apart and pack them.
Right. Okay, so Jacob Wilson is trying to figure out how in the heck he's going to get through this this curve out from Paulo, Vitor, Damo, Rosa. Meanwhile, Jesse Hampton is playing against Shahar, Shenhar, while Matt Nass battles Tom Martell. And it looks like Salt Road Patrol with no attacks is going to be the play. He could have attacked with Hateblade, but if it gets blocked by Smoke Teller, he's pretty much obliged to dump the mana into it, and then he doesn't get to play maybe anything this turn, but at least not the Salt Road Patrol. So he decided against it. Also, Hateblade sitting back on defense eventually to block one of those Tuskguard Captains is decent.
Both Tuskguard Captains are going to get bigger this turn.
Wow. Whoa. Okay, well, he did 1. Or did he not do 1? All right.
Didn't let go of anything.
Sure. His finger's still on the piece.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll buy it. Also, Wilson's tapped out, so it's not like
And
get anything in a morph. So again, we see Paulo use up every bit of mana.
Just a damn fine curve.
Yeah. I love this. This is definitely where you want to be if you're on Paulo's side of the table.
Yeah, and he's got the better late game. So being able to play, a 2-2, a 2-3, being able to just get all these creatures into play, he's on 19.
Right.
Like, Jacob has gotten nothing accomplished.
No.
He needs to, he's trying to hit hard early and finish with a rush of battle. It's kind of the way he's got his deck built, and it's just not come together.
Yeah, and what we're going to see here is as the game goes longer, Paulo's top decks are going to get a lot better than Jacob Wilson's, who's trying to play a much lower curve and a much more aggressive deck.
Also, as the game goes longer, Paulo has a roar challenge in his.
He took it really high.
In his.
I mean, he wanted that card. So Wilson has a swarm of blood flies that he's looking to deploy this turn. And he does. Is he going to rumble? He is. He's going to get in there for 2. There's a double block possible, but...
Yeah, but that just makes
the blood flies
angry.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
rooting
is that Paulo's disincentivized to do that. Plus, the morph is probably better than whatever... than trading for a Horde Chief anyway. So I see the Roar of Challenge in hand and Jacob's tapped out.
Yep.
This could get ugly. This could get ugly.
Outlast has built him up a 4-power creature.
Right. He could make it indestructible, and he can eat the swarm of blood flies and the Hateblade here.
And the token.
And the token.
It's a pretty solid 3 for 1.
You got to do it, right?
I think so.
He doesn't get any damage through with that creature, but he can attack with the others and get those through.
He leaves Jacob with just Assault Road Patrol
And a Horde Chief,
and
yeah.
a Horde Chief. And that's what he
Yeah,
does.
you got to do it. Especially
This play looks great.
It
What's
looks
wrong
fantastic.
with this card,
Oh no, no.
Marshall?
Well, this is where it shines.
Okay.
It's when your opponent goes throttle, and then it's not good. But Paulo's not going to walk into that, and he's going to make sure to get max value.
What is, yeah.
Interestingly, Paulo's keeping his other Tusk Guard back.
Yeah, I do find that interesting as well.
I do too. That's
He wants to
strange.
play defense.
Or maybe he wants to just make it bigger.
He's just going to.
Is he outlasting?
Outlast it here.
He's outlasting.
Sure, there you go.
He's like, I don't really care if you attack here. Oh, look at that. All his mana.
God, he just
Jeez.
never doesn't tap out.
Yeah,
I
now
need a
he's
little
hell-bent.
golf clap.
That was
From
impressive.
2 to 6, he used up every single bit of mana.
And every
Perfectly.
card in his hand.
Oh,
Yes.
And maybe he has a 6 mana, a
Is it a Woolly
Loxodon. If it's
Oh,
a Woolly
it-
Loxodon under there. No, he doesn't have a Woolly Loxodon.
Ugh. Well, what is there a 7 mana morph we can root for?
Wow.
Super impressive start here from Paulo. But like you said, Randy, I think the key here is just that the roles have been effectively reversed. Now Paulo's actually in the driver's seat on the beatdown.
Yeah. He's the Outlast deck. Abzan wants to win the long game.
Yeah. Okay,
And
this
so once-
could change some things. The Abzan
Really?
the Abzan Battle Priest plus 2 other Outlast creatures can eventually get bigger. The question is, can the Tuskguard captains outpace those? Like, is he going to keep? Are we going to see an Outlast fight where it's like, saber rattling on either side? They're both just threatening each other. Because I think that what Paulo wants to do ultimately is get his Tuskguard captains to 5 so they can battle through the Salt Road Patrol unimpeded.
By the way, Jesse Hampton's already won a game.
Of course.
Wow.
So's Tom Martell. So has Tom Martell.
Tom Martell finds a victory there. He has played many a scrappy deck in these teams. I mean, you got to go deep sometimes. When the people on your right and left are actively trying to sink your deck, like, you got to go deep.
Into Mantis Rider in that third.
I mean, when it comes around twice in a draft, the Super Wheel Mantis Rider
It
gets
didn't.
tempting.
Jesse Hampton killed it.
Oh, he did, didn't he?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Narset. Only 2 morphs I see in Paulo's deck are Abzan Guide and Ice Feather Haven.
I think Paulo sees the same late game potential for the Battle Priest that you see, Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
He's turning everybody sideways. Let's create some blocks. Let's see if I can get some of these creatures off the board. Turn them all sideways.
He's also got a fresh card in his hand.
Which could be Awaken the Bear.
Wilson's not in danger of dying here as long as he makes some reasonable blocks, so that's not on the docket, but man, that Battle Priest just changes everything so much late game. Yeah, what is this here?
What's which?
Well, this attack's not getting a whole lot done as it sits. He's getting in for 6. I guess that's pretty decent.
I mean, he's going to lose the Smoke Teller.
Yeah, he loses a Smoke Teller outright.
Wow.
Ooh.
Jacob is going to risk the Battle Priest?
Are we going to awaken a bear
There's not a
here?
lot of time on the Battle Priest. Like, even if he,
Well,
even when he untaps, he has to outlast his other 2 guys.
Right.
They're not available to block or do anything that'll gain him life next turn.
He
This
outlasts
might be
one
the
of
most.
them.
This might be the most life that he can gain. Blocking
By
and
blocking.
killing something.
Yeah, he's certainly deep in the tank trying to figure that out for himself here. I mean, I think that he's pinning his long game hopes on the Abzan Battle Priest.
Yeah. Does Paulo have a trick in his hand, or is he just flipping that morph over?
Does Paulo play his creatures up front when he's going to be in attack mode?
Apparently, Paulo plays his creatures up front when he's asked politely. can live with that.
So, you said that PV does not have Wooly Loxodon on his list,
does not have
correct?
Wooly
I didn't see him
Loxodon.
draft
His
one, so
Obzon guy. Wow, it was Awaken the
it
Bear.
was Awaken the Bear.
Jeez.
Goodness. And he's going to use that to take down the Salt Road Patrol?
No, I
Or
think
did he
he's
use it on
trampling
the
over
Smoke
Smoke Teller. Yeah.
Okay,
He's
so he's
not
going to
losing
keep his
any
board
creatures
position
this
here.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
This
does
way,
allow
nothing
him to get
does.
damage too, so he gets in for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Not bad.
Yeah, drops him down to 6 after taking 8 damage. Now, some interesting stuff. I see that there's a Kiru Bloodsucker in hand for Jacob Wilson. Does he have time to outlast here?
Not really.
Not really, right?
I mean, that's how Paulo has played the game. He knows he needs to go aggressive. That top decking Awaken the Bear certainly helped.
Sure.
I mean, I think his line would have been correct even without Awaken the Bear, which is part of the reason it was so effective as a top deck.
Outlast is slow. It takes its toll. So Battle Priest is going to pick up a counter. And then I think we're going to see the Bloodsucker here. Yes. And also play a land to get him back up to 7. So it looks like he can survive this next attack barring shenanigans. But that morph has got to be pretty scary for Jacob, as who knows what it is. But I
Paulo
expect
doing math.
rumbling here. Yeah, I think it's time to battle.
I mean, even if Jacob can survive this attack, it's still not a great attack. I mean,
So the morph has to be the Ice Feather Raven then?
I think it's the ice, but I mean, he wanted to use the.
oh my.
Sorin.
Yeah, I'm just
Jeez.
gonna give my guys +1 and.
You know, we were wondering if he was going to splash it, Randy.
Yeah,
and,
he
I
did
see
not
a
hesitate.
plains there.
Right.
There's 3 planes in his deck.
Yeah.
Yeah. He passed up on, so this is interesting. He passed up on a couple of dual lands that would give him blue as well.
But
but
I don't
he's
think
not
he
playing.
wanted
I don't
blue.
think is he playing the blue? He's not
He's
just.
playing Dismal Backwater and Thornwood Falls and Opulent Palace. He has 3 free sources of blue.
Got it.
And his blue cards, miss
And Ice Feather even.
not the Weaver. He didn't play
Oh,
it.
and a Misfire Weaver.
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
There's the other.
Yeah, that's good.
So he basically demoted blue down to a relatively light splash.
Yeah,
So
both
he's,
of
light
them.
he's black-green with a light splash of white and a light splash of blue.
Right.
All right, Chaos and Carnage, and
Game.
Sorin gets it done.
Not a bad couple of draw steps there for PV either. I like the way he played it, but it also backed up
It helped,
nicely.
yeah,
with
Awaken the Bear into
So
Sorin.
are we
Yeah.
going to check in on the Jesse Hampton?
Yeah, that's right. I
we
think
better
should
do
go.
that quickly.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
It's already got
Okay.
High Spire Mantis attacking.
Things look great from here if you're in Jesse Hampton's seat so far. He's got
He just run Aspirant out without a raid trigger, it looks
Yeah,
like.
I think the
Yes, he
Skull
did.
Hunter also
but
got
he's got his High Sentinels.
run out without it.
Oh, he has High Sentinels
He's
in
got
his
it in
hand.
his hand. The question is, does he want to get it countered or messed with otherwise? And he decides, heck with it,
You
do
got
something
anything?
about it.
Shahar's
Nothing.
got nothing.
Shahar just has to stare at it. But
People don't play a lot of cancels in this format.
no, but Shahar's
Just
got a
Disdainful Strokes,
Sultai
though.
charm. He does. He's got a Sultai
they don't
charm.
all wind up
though.
in main decks either.
Yeah, he's got a Sultai charm, so he's actually going to be able to just snap off the.
Does he have the mana?
Sentinels. Yeah,
Oh, he's got the
he's got a
green. Okay,
force
there
in
it
his
is.
hand. Yeah, so bink. That's about the best you could possibly hope for if you're in Shahar's seat, is just to be able to only 1-for-1 yourself and use up all of your mana for the turn, essentially.
Yeah, there's a train. that's the High Spire Mantis coming through.
Now, does Jesse Hampton know that it's Shahar's birthday? Like, he's not
Well,
being
he's-
very friendly.
He's only giving him 20 punches each game.
Okay, Highland game off the top for Shahar. It's gotten a little quiet in here, so you might hear our voices dip a little bit, just in case. I don't think they can hear us, but
Okay.
I don't want to mess with it. And there's a long shot squad now. So that's a decent start
Uh-oh.
towards
Take up arms.
stabilizing, but
Uh-oh.
take up arms. Uh-oh.
Yeah, and
I
Jesse
feel
has
it.
been sitting on the War Name Aspirin. He's not been shown any interest in trading it.
Bang,
Valley Dasher,
bang.
Rush of Battle,
And how about the no math alpha?
Thing of Beauty. Yeah, you
Let's
figured out.
Just
I'm
do
just.
this. Yep.
I don't know if you're dead
That's
or
5 in
not.
the
I
air
don't
there.
care.
Yes. It is 5 in the air to bring him to 9,
Yeah.
and that's going to do it, Jesse Hampton.
Oh, glad we got to squeeze that one in.
And
Wow.
Jesse just shakes his head and says, my deck is insane.
Yeah, he's like, look, I'm tired. I gotta go take a nap.
he's like, hey, can you give me lessons on how to drive in the snow, Shahar?
And
Shahar
Shahar's like,
puts on his
"Nope."
hood and says, no, sir. So the first match goes to Jesse Hampton and brings his team one step closer to the trophy. The downside here, if you're Jesse Hampton, is that both of his teammates lost their first game.
Yeah.
So Martell needs to win this one, or can win this one to pick up a match for his and force Paulo, Vitor, Damo, Rosa to win one of the next 2 games. Or if Martell loses, he still has another shot at it. So they're actually in a perfectly reasonable spot.
Pearl Lake Ancient.
Pearl Lake Ancient hits for Matt
At the end of your
Nass.
turn, summon a 6/7.
Well, this went from looking reasonable to looking like it's favoring Matt
Yeah.
Nass quite strongly. Thank you very much. Martell falls to 9. Nass needs to win this. If he loses this,
What did he get back with the?
Winter Flame?
Winter Flame, yeah.
he got Winter Flame back.
It's a nice one.
It's setting up the win next turn if Martell has nothing.
True.
Go. Does he go for it? He can tap it down now, right? That's a red land in the middle there.
It is.
Yeah.
Could just go for it. It is still 9 even without the prowess trigger on the Pearl Lake Ancient. Maybe you just go for it.
All right, and that's what he's gonna do.
What else is that winter? Like, are you waiting for the winter flame to be better than I win unless you have removal / instant speed creatures or whatever? Yeah, move that thing out of the way. Martell pondering, but ultimately allowing this. I wouldn't assume that he has a choice in the matter, but he could. Oh, what an awkward hand for Martell.
What was it?
He has incremental growth in his hand.
Oh, jeez.
like-
How many creatures did he wind up running?
The old 10 creature incremental growth deck, is that where we're at?
Not a good combo.
Probably not. Okay, Martell does have throttle though, and that's going to take down the Warden of the Eye, mean that he's, under most circumstances, going to get an untapped step and another draw here. He also could have something like a kill shot here to force a bounce from the Pearl Lake Ancient. Unfortunately, it's not going to do much. All right, there's the kill shot, but how about we float some mana?
He's got 12 creatures.
So he floats 3 blue. He's got 12 total.
Yeah.
It's a little low. It's very low. So this is how Pearl Lake Ancient works. You float all the mana, then you return 3 lands to your hand to get it back in your hand, and then you just recast it since it has flash.
Well, that seems good.
They're going to bring back a game land.
Yeah, and Matt's just trying to figure out which ones to pick up.
Make sure you go from 22 to 23.
Crucial. But don't pick up too many comes into play tap land.
No, you want to be able to reload.
If he's got nothing else to do this turn, then it's just a free life.
Okay, so he replays the Ancient and replays the Falls and ships the turn back over to Tom Martell. Tom's up against it here. He is in a tough spot. He's at 9 life, and he's up against really one of the toughest threats to deal with. I mean, you can buy time sometimes
Right.
against the Ancient, but like actually killing it is very difficult.
It is the inevitability. I mean, the card was printed, and I saw Eric Lauer in an interview talking about how he wanted to make sure blue on blue matches in constructed would at least end. It plays that Aetherling role of, okay, if you get this, they can't actually do anything about it.
You will win eventually.
Will eventually win. Right. They can stall it for a couple of turns, but it's going to win the game eventually.
I knew the card was for real when I heard someone say Pithy Needle naming Pearl Lake Ancient.
There you go.
Or a Revoker or whatever it was, you know,
Yeah.
it's like let's stop that ability at the Pro Tour.
And even then, you still have to tussle with a 6-7
Yeah,
prowess.
yeah.
Yeah, that is an indicator for sure. So, long shot squad, maybe aptly named for Tom Martell's chances of winning the game currently, though he is not going to give up. He will scrap and fight. Jesse Hampton's already picked up a match for his team, so Matt Nass or Jacob Wilson can win a match.
He
They
spent
will be the
more
champions.
time selecting cards from pack 1 than he did playing that deck.
Jesse did?
Yeah.
That was very quick.
I mean, selecting the first pack of cards is harder.
Apparently not. All right.
Okay, Ancient hits the red zone
Yeah.
here. It's not lethal. Martell is not obliged to block it, and he's going to take it falling down to 3. See, the problem here is
He
that Tom
can't win
can
it.
survive against it for a while, but he has no clock, and Nass is at 23. Like, the way you beat an Ancient is you make him return it enough time so that he can't cast it for a while, and then you apply a lot of pressure and kill him, and he just doesn't have both options.
What are the stats on the War Behemoth?
It's a 3-6.
3-6. So you can get it to a 9 toughness with an incremental growth.
Yeah.
That's the plan. Hide.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, at least that makes it.
Godzilla's rampaging through our streets.
No, you're right.
Let's
That-
hide in the storm cellar.
Yeah, that's great. He could put one counter on the flock.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, incremental growth does require 3 targets. So you will have to put counters on Matt Nass's creature if he wants to cast it on this board.
Here's a morph. But Martell could absolutely find himself in
Yeah,
a
a
stable
1, a 2,
board
and a
state
3
with that.
with a 9 toughness War Behemoth blocking Pro Lake Ancient.
Yeah. I know it kind of looks like it's flying. No, doesn't have flying.
Well, it wouldn't even matter. All of Tom's creatures would have reach.
Yeah, you're right. Can Martell find a way to actually get a victory out of this game?
I'm not sure.
Well, step 1 is not losing.
Yes, and he is actually well on his way to getting to that point.
He's like, yes,
3, 2, 1.
that's what I'm doing.
Which, by the way, if you
please.
play on Magic Online, it's 1, 2, 3. just so you know.
All right.
Okay, the shields, they are up. And he ships a turn back. Now the big question is, what's that morph? Like,
Oh.
Icy Blast, is
Blast.
going to seal the deal here.
On to game 3.
And the morph was a Snowhorn Rider, by the way. So let's go back to the middle table and see what's there, because Paulo is
Paulo's
playing
up the
as
game
well
here.
to try to get his team a match win on the board. He's already won the first game. But that's a big swarm of Bloodflies there at 4-4. Oh, there's a Bellying Saddle Brute, though. That's a nice attacker on this board. Let's see what happens.
$18 playing 16 here. So all 4 colors of mana for Paulo.
Sure, yeah. 4 or 5 heading in. No great blocks for Jacob.
No blocks for Jacob. He just takes it. He's at 16. He can afford it. But it feels like Paulo maybe is flooded a little bit here.
Looks like Rite of the
don't think
Serpent
he
took down an Abzan Battle Priest like maybe a turn or so ago.
Oh, okay. 3 cards in hand for Paulo. Forest
Where
is
that
one of
snake
them.
token would have come from.
Yeah, that's the only place. Oh, there's Sorin in hand. And Mist. Yeah, the Weaver, too. Mistfire Weaver. And he's got the blue you see sitting over there under the palace. So That could be pretty important here if Wilson has some plans on going for a big removal spell or something. Unfortunately, at 3-1, it can't quite tussle with the swarm of bloodflies, which is really becoming the big issue here.
Looks like a Riotous Serpent in Jacob Wilson's hand.
You're right. Sometimes you got to go deep in team draft.
You just never play that card?
Never's too strong, but rarely.
Sometimes, but I don't admit it.
Right.
And
Kills
there
things
is
dead.
not right now. Misfire Weaver
Huge
does what
game.
it's there to do.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Gives hexproof, denies.
I've almost never seen that actually happen. It's usually
True.
I flip it over and I attack in the air, or
Yeah, I've done it a decent amount of times, but you're right, BDM. I think the primary mode is get a 3-1 flyer in the air. But that is about the biggest blowout you can get there. It was an entire turn from Jacob Wilson. Look at that, 6 mana in a card.
6 mana. He thought he was going to get. Also assumed he's going to get a counter on his Bloodflies.
Yeah,
His Bloodflies up to 5.
totally.
And
Probably planned to attack.
Yeah. Now it looks like the Bellowing Saddlebrew gets to attack again here. And unless he's got an Awaken the Bear, oh, does he have a Roar?
No, it looks like he has Heir of the Wilds and a
Sword.
Sword.
Okay. He's got one other card though. Maybe it's just a land. Okay, just attack with the Brute.
not interested in the pre-combat Sorin. Would have allowed the Weaver to attack through Bloodflies.
It's going to block, and Bloodflies now bigger, which is pretty important here because if his plan. Well, he could also Sorin and just make a vampire. And having a Planeswalker in play is pretty sweet. It's Heir of the Wilds, though.
Sure.
And there's Sorin.
Makes a vampire.
And he is going to, in fact, make a vampire, which can now double block to kill the swarm. He switches it out and gets it re-switched out.
Of course.
He wanted to use himself token, which is kind of a cool thing, but. Is this an attack with Swarm?
I think so.
So he's putting Paulo to the test on whether he wants to double block, chump block, or just let it happen. Is he attacking Sorin here?
I believe he's attacking Sorin.
He's moved it over to the side. It made me think he was attacking Sorin, but I don't actually.
Yeah,
know
that
for
makes
sure.
sense.
Chump block. Swarm of Bloodflies is getting out of control, though. It is
Love
now
that.
a 6/6. Thing's a full-on dragon.
Just looked at the back table, and Martell and Nass are just getting started there. We're gonna try to bring that game 3.
Okay. Kind of in the hazy middle section of this game. There's a Planeswalker. There was a chump block. Huge life swings
Yeah,
are
I don't know
attainable
about hazy
now.
middle section. Paulo seems like he's in a pretty good spot.
Do you think so? I mean, the Swarm of Bloodflies is huge.
Self-Pay Scavenger, Disowned Ancestor, and Alabaster Kieran all come down.
Pretty nice turn for Wilson. I just don't know how Paulo actually closes this game out from here is the question I have.
Well, what is Jacob blocking with? Let's say you plus Sorin.
Mm-hmm.
Saddlebrute is now 6 power. Heir of the Wilds is coming over with Death Touch. Misfire Weaver can. I mean, Jacob has some blocks to trade. Like, he
Yeah.
can trade for the Weaver. I don't know, it just seems like. And then all the lifelink will give Paulo a safe cushion.
Yeah, we give him a huge cushion. I just don't know what the next turn looks like for Paulo there.
What's Paulo got? Morph?
A morph.
Okay.
Players are
Is that
playing
more
very
for nice feather
deliberately.
even?
Oh, jeez.
I guess it's either that or a guide, right? An Obzon guide. I think those are the only two he has.
Soren does go up.
Left. Soren goes up, and he's lining up an attack here. Like you said, I think there's a lot of trades that happen here, Randy.
Which makes me think this is the ice feather even because Jacob lines up those trades, gets his swarm of blood flies pretty big, and then we
Bounce.
Chips it right back. Wow,
Yeah.
that would be insane. He's done a lot of work with those blood flies.
Yeah,
and
or
have
bounce
kept
a
them
double
in.
block, something out of a double block.
Right.
I mean, Soren made a token last time and they just instantly chumped with it to keep him alive. Like, didn't get a whole lot done with that.
Puts two creatures in front of them and celebrate. You might see something get bounced. Kept the misfire when we were back.
Yeah, that part surprised me a little bit. I guess he wants to be able to defend Soren from
Yeah.
flying attack.
So that's it.
And maybe to some extent disguising that he has an ice feather even.
Yeah, maybe. All right, that would be a bounce.
All right.
That is
A trade.
A trade.
Tell me both life totals whenever you ask.
Jacob's like, I don't know.
Also a trade.
Still a
Looks like
trade.
better- it looks like a better trade. That's a chump.
That's
Yet
a
another way to trade.
Yep.
I think I like that trade a little better.
Trading the Kieran seems a little worse to you than the
Yes.
than the Horde Chief. I like the way you think, BDM. So Wilson's still trying to figure out exactly the optimal blocks here, but either way, a lot of things are going to die one way or another, and Paulo's going to gain a ton of life.
Yeah.
He's gaining what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 life here, I believe.
It's got to be Ice Feather Raven. The way Paulo's played this game.
It was 12 because of the Air of the Wild, so 30 he goes to. Did he leave up his blue and green? Yes, he did. God, that could easily be Ice Feather Raven. Look
He
at
can
that
even do it- he
swarm
can-
of blood flies is now a 9-power player.
You can potentially time it to keep Soren alive, too.
Yeah.
Right? Wait and see how Jacob's going to attack.
Absolutely. And also, he could just abandon Soren if he feels like the opening is there.
Right.
Where,
Oh, you're going to
you
send
know,
everyone
all
at
true.
Soren?
yeah,
Okay.
and then the follow-up play from Wilson is some blocker, and he can say, get that out of the way and just kill you. He's got Wilson down to 8, and Paulo needs to win this game. I mean, he has a game to give, but like picking up this one when you're that close is huge for your team.
I don't feel like Jacob can attack here. Oh,
No, Paulo's at 30. He can try to kill Soren, but
It's a throttle on the misfire.
okay.
Clearing a flying blocker. So now just Scavenger can go with Soren.
And that kills Soren. Interesting.
Kieran got a hit for 2 as well. Paulo just untaps.
Paulo just untapped, so we still don't know what the morph is for sure. There is an Obzon guide in this list, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, and he's got the mana for that as well. It absolutely could just be an
Also a
Obzon guide.
10-10 swarm of blood flies on defense.
It's an
here.
issue. And I think that Paulo, if it was an Ice Feather Raven, probably would have turned it up on end step there. He had the mana to do it if he knew that that's what he wanted to do anyway, just to use his mana efficiently. He might have wanted to see a draw step, who knows.
All right, we'll
Okay.
keep you guys updated
Looks like
on
we need to
this.
move over to the other game because things seem to be winding down over here.
Oh,
Well, remember, this is a game 3 here. So this is 4. Like, if Matt Nass wins this game, then we will have our champions.
but
If he loses this game, then we're going to jump back to the middle game because that one gets all the much more important. Trail of Mystery.
oh, look at that.
Oh.
Savage indeed, Matt Nass. Avalanche Tusker followed up immediately by Savage Punch to take down.
But that's a
but
that's
it was a
two-
Merrick
oh,
Nightblade.
a 1 for 2.
That's not the right way to do that, but it looks like he needed to, as Tom Martell seems like he's poised here.
Plays another morph.
Now I see that Matt Nass has 3 cards in his hand. That's number 4 there. So you got to figure he's got tools to work with. But that morph is a 5/5
There's an incremental growth
on
in
its own.
there's an incremental growth in Tom's graveyard.
Okay. And so the Nightblade must have picked up counters from that
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. Matt Nass at 6 life, barely hanging on
Yeah.
here. He's facing lethal damage, so he's got to do some work. He's got tons of mana, though. There's a banner buried in there. Looks like he's got either all the colors or maybe just missing black if I can't quite see one. But
I think he's got black off his banner. I think it's
Okay.
an Obzon banner.
okay.
Is that what he's playing? No, he's got a Timur banner, so no black.
Okay. And it looks like he's kind of stopped playing because I think maybe he's helping Jacob Wilson out over there. But he's got his own problems on this side. Wooly
Yeah.
Loxodon is the play. He's just going to hard cast it for 7 and then play a Mystic Monastery post Loxodon. Gain a life. What do you got, Tom Martell? Yes, let's get those sleeves rolled up and let's enter battle here. I
Can't
mean,
tell
with
anything.
2
He rolls
morphs-
his sleeves up when he's losing and when he's winning.
Fair.
Looks like he shipped the turn.
He passed the turn back. So
Wooly
he either
Loxodon getting the
can't
job
turn
done.
that morph face up due to mana in his deck and or on the battlefield, or it's got Defender or something like that. That's it. Monastery Flock.
It could be an Inoc tracker.
Which he doesn't have red for
He doesn't have red
in
for
his
it.
deck.
In his deck. Oh no, he is playing a Rugged Highlands. He decided to play the
So he's
Rugged
live.
Highlands.
He's live. Was that an Obzon Charm? Did you see that?
There is an Obzon Charm in his deck.
Is there one in his deck?
Yeah.
Looks like he's peeking over at what Paulo's up to. I mean, they had a pretty complicated game going there between PV and Jacob Wilson. That was a game 2, though. This is a game 3, and this one could be a decider. Matt Nass just needs to find a way to punch through for, well, 21 damage. But he's got to do it, and then he'll make his team the champions. If he doesn't and Tom Martell wins, it's all about PV versus Jacob Wilson. Jesse Hampton dispatched Shahar Shenhar almost immediately at the beginning of this match.
I believe the technical term is toot sweet. There's an armament core.
It's an armament core. So can he actually... He can make a 7/7. It's actually big enough to fight through Willie
He can make a
Loxodon.
7/7. It seems like the play.
I mean, spreading out the counters doesn't really get him that far, does it? He could go wide and try to attack with 3 different threats. One of them gets eaten and the other 2 kill Matt, but that wouldn't happen until next turn. So it's kind of a timing thing for him. If he puts
Sure.
both
Attack with a
counters on
5/5
the
and a
morph and it
4/4.
dies, like he's sort of eggs basket 1, which starts to get a little
That's
sketchy. Also, we have to consider the fact that maybe that second morph he actually can flip up.
Wow.
That is an
So he
Obzon
makes a-
charm in his hand.
Wow.
He's going for it next turn.
Oh, and there's the Pearl Lake
And there's
Ancient.
another factor, Pearl Lake Ancient, which I'm sure Tom Martell had him read for when Matt just shipped the turn back with a billion mana.
It's both a lot of power and a lot of toughness.
Yes.
From Matt
He
Nass.
has 2 different 6/7s on the battlefield right now. There's no way he can lose with those, right? 2 6/7s? Come on. What else does he have?
I mean, Tom, you say Tom has Obzon Charm in his hand, right?
He does.
Oh,
He
there
does.
is.
If any one of those creatures gets through and picks up the 2+1/+1 counters, it's lethal. That's how he spread the counters out. So that any unblocked creature can hit for 6.
Matt Nass just went for a little cruise. And he's got a lot of mana left over here, too, to help bolster his defenses. So I think if you're in Tom Martell's seat, you're slowly starting to see this slip away.
I don't
Not
think
that
it
he's
is-
out of it yet. I'm just saying, like, there we
There's-
go, suspension field. Are we going to reveal the embarrassing truth about that more? All right, what is it?
It is.
The Enoch tracker. Oh, that's funny. And that's probably going, oh.
I see how
I
it
see. You were color screwed on red.
is.
Yeah, sometimes you run bad. Don't draw your red source.
Yeah.
Well, now Tom has a pair of 4/4s, neither of which can beat up a 6/7, even with help from Obzon Charm.
Right. And the clock, the window's going to close very quickly once Matt Nass decides that it's safe to start actually attacking. And like even a
and
card
Highland
like
Game.
this is just huge here.
Yeah.
Like a chump block and a couple of extra life is such a huge deal. Martell was trying to craft that
I like the way
scenario.
Tom played
I
it.
did too. He was so close. But these turns have been massive. Matt Nass played Woolly Locks it on go. Pearl Lake Ancient, you know, that was
Go
his turn.
Pearl Lake Ancient,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then the next turn was Suspension Field Highland Game Treasure Cruise. Like, he is firing on all cylinders now. That is going to be a mighty tough 3-turn sequence to beat here for Martell. But what's the first stage? The first stage is
Draw
let's get
some
some
cards.
cards. Yeah. This is probably better than Treasure Cruise anyway in this situation. He
I was
gets to
thinking the
get
same thing.
2 of the next 4.
2 out of 4 seems better than 3 off the top.
Yeah. He's got Matt Nass down to just 3 mana available
And 6 life.
and only 6 life left. Not a lot of reach though for Tom Martell. I mean, he's not actually in red. Don't let that tracker fool you. So he doesn't really have a way to finish him off outside of creature combat.
Yeah. No Obzon Falconer or anything like that to fly over the top.
He doesn't have that.
No. You know, an Archer's Parapet might be a way for him to finish this game off
It could be.
in, you know, the most excruciating manner possible.
Long Shot Squad shows up right in time again for Martell. There's a Snowhorn Rider off the top for Nass. Once again, Nass looking to win the Grand Prix this game. If he wins this game with Magic, the Grand Prix ends. Jesse Hampton, Jacob Wilson, and Matt Nass will hoist the trophy. If he loses this game, Martell wins the match, and we'll be playing Jacob Wilson versus Paulo, Vitor, Damo, Rosa for the trophy. So this is absolutely a massive match. Matt Nass has already won a GP on his own. He'd love to add a team GP win to his resume here, especially given that he doesn't get to play quite as much as he used to. Just show up and win a Grand Prix has got to be a...
Still plays
pretty
more
good.
than Jesse Hampton does, doesn't he?
Jesse plays more than he lets on.
Okay, cashing in. Oh, I thought he was cashing in
The banner.
the banner there, but no, plays a morph.
Trail of Mystery.
Dig, dig, dig.
Wow.
I like how Trail of Mystery has the place of honor in the middle of all the creatures. None of this enchantments off to the side nonsense.
I like the two routes, Jesse Hampton and Matt Nass have taken. He's like, I'm going to beat down with Valley Dashers. I'm going to play Pearl Lake Ancient.
Yeah. Go for the pulls, right?
Pearl Lake Ancient and a variety of Borderland Rangers. Maximum Trail of Mystery.
Martell deep into the tank again.
There's an Abomination of Goodle in his deck. He could get that up in the air.
Oh, that would be great. Is this a morph? Yes. It was not an Abomination of Gadul.
Yeah.
Don't know exactly what it was. It looked like it might have been a Willy Loxodon.
Does have a Willy Loxodon.
Facing down 2 6/7s.
Really, what this game needs is more 6/7s.
Yeah. He doesn't have a Mystic of the Hidden Way, does he?
No.
All right, now the Teamer banner gets cashed in.
Sure.
Tom deck.
He could.
Matt Nass.
I feel like Matt should be able to turn the corner and close the game out quite quickly once he decides to. But Tom does have a nice defensive force lined up. That is an option. That was
Again,
a Hooting Mandrills off the top for Matt.
Right, Icy Blast still represents a backbreaker here.
Like maybe a one-shot kill type
That's how
scenario.
Matt won the first game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, even just as
Yeah,
the
like a
board
two-stick.
sits, Icy Blast is 15 damage. Just
Right.
bang.
And then Tom can't really can't untap.
No. And then it's pretty hard to believe that Tom would be able to go to his untapped step and deploy enough things to get in the way of Pearl Lake Ancient and Willy Loxodon after having taken a big hit of damage. Also, Matt might just try to craft this where he gets to just one-shot him.
This could be an Icy Blast here. Nope, it's the
The
Mandrills.
Mandrills. But does he have Icy Blast in his hand? I don't think he
so.
does. I'm not sure though. He did leave up some mana kind of suspiciously here. I guess just to turn the morph face up? Okay, that was a Loxodon down there. So the shields, they are up for Tom Martell, no doubt about that. And remember,
You can
Tom's
get that
been
to an
sitting on
8/9.
He can. He's also, yes, he's been sitting on that Obzon charm for this whole entire time. You know, and that can matter a lot with the race. Like if Matt Nass gets a little hasty and goes for an Icy Blast thinking that he can kill him, and Martell just says, sure, kill your Loxodon, exile it, that changes the clock in a massive way. Double check the morph. Can I actually pay mana to turn this one face up? So the interesting thing is that we've reached the point of the game here, guys, where inevitability becomes an issue, right? Where who has the backbreakers?
Tom doesn't really have
It's not Tom.
anything inevitable here. The
Yeah.
Icy Blast is the card.
That's the one. Okay. Because we seem to be in a full-on stalemate, right? Like nobody can get through any damage at all. Like we haven't even seen, oh, I've got a random flyer, I'll peck away. What is this? Okay, a random flyer indeed. Sultai Scavenger. Now, if Matt Nass
Leaving 5
hasn't found
untapped.
removal, he's left 5 untapped, ostensibly for the morph, but I think that he's really sort of veiling the
Obzon charm.
the charm under that. Yeah. That was a Winter Flame, I think, for Matt Nass. That actually could buy him a little bit of time. But interestingly, I think a sequence that's pretty realistic is that Martell attacks with the Scavenger. Matt says, sure. And then Martell goes to attack the next time. And now the Obzon charm all of a sudden makes it lethal as opposed to something that he can actually take. So he'll probably have to use any type of tap effects he has to keep himself alive. That Scavenger was huge for Martell. Absolutely huge. That might actually pressure Matt Nass into making a move here a little sooner than he'd like. And I don't know what tools he has right now to do it.
Picks up a big chunk of his mana.
Is this
Those are
Icy
tools.
Blast mana?
He doesn't know, right, if Tom Martell has disdains the stroke or
No.
cancel. Or
Totally.
even a stubborn denial would.
Yeah, that is enough Icy. That's Icy Blast mana
Ooh,
potentially.
Jacob
Five
Wilson
creatures.
forced a game 3 against Paulo.
Wow.
Paulo was looking pretty good down there.
He was.
He's just returning his lands.
Is he gaining life? The Pro Lake Ancient life
and
gain loop?
flashing back the Pro Link Ancient. to
You
just
know what?
start
I think that's
getting-
exactly what
Yeah.
he's doing. Like, he can add a full turn over the next 3 turns by doing this.
Yeah.
Funny.
Inching away from inevitability.
Of course, the Ancient is uncounterable anyway, so he doesn't take any risk on, the disdainful
Yeah.
strokes and things of the world. So go up to 8. And this is good news for Tom Martell because it means that Matt Nass is definitely respecting that Sultai Scavenger and probably doesn't have an answer for it right now.
True.
Wow. Now, Tom could take a super risky play here and go for it. He could just put the 2 counters on and say, you're dead next turn, even with that life gain. But man, he's pretty all in at that point. I suppose he can do it anyway. Like, he doesn't actually need to do it now that I look, right? He can just say, take 3
3 plus
and
5.
then the next turn is 5. So that risk is actually just completely unnecessary. So hit you for 3. Is Martell going to be able to somehow pull a game out of this?
A match.
A match out of this?
Start counting cards.
Yeah, and you mentioned that earlier, BDM, and I'm sure Martell has that in his head too. You got to figure that Nass is going to find a way to win the game before he gets decked. I don't think I would plan on that. Was that a Warden of the Eye? Yes, it was. And the obligatory graveyard check there, but I think that's his.
That was his
What's
exile
exiled and
zone.
what's his, so the
Exiled
that's
is down
exiled?
below.
Treasure Cruise is never in the exile zone.
It is,
Treasure
he
Cruise
has
is
a
in the new
Mandrels.
graveyard.
I think Treasure Cruise is his only spell. If he's looking for Icy Blast.
Could he have eaten all of his
True.
spells with his cruising and mandrelsing and left that Warden with nothing left to get?
We're getting
Or
Treasure
is,
Cruise.
it, or is it the cruise itself and then doesn't do enough? There's the
Warden
Warden.
gets the
Yeah,
Treasure
it's just the
Cruise.
cruise. Nothing
With
left
no
in the
graveyard,
yard.
though.
Yeah, he can't even cast it.
Next turn. He's got time, right? Scavenger only hits for 3.
Oh, baby. How much better does Abzan Charm get, right? That's the question for Martell, like if he can apply. And the question also for Matt Nass is because he's got a kind of an awkward one here
Yeah.
with the Winter Flame.
Does he let him attack?
Is he's like,
Does he let him
'cause if he
attack and think
does-
he'll get him next turn?
Yeah, because if he does and he doesn't have anything, which I don't think he has anything, then Martell can risk it, go for it, and try to win right now. Gosh, this is going to be close. He
End
actually
of
can
turn.
flip something face up. All right, War Behemoth.
Exciting.
Okay, is this it? Go to attacks.
Okay.
No, Winter Flame it.
Yeah,
Do
he just
it.
needs
Knock
the
it down.
mana. He just needs the mana next turn.
It's true.
Do 2 damage to the Loxodon, which shouldn't really matter here.
Right.
I see that there's now a kill shot in hand for Martell, which is again going to help with that whole icy blast defense plan here. But it means that there's probably no decent attack here at all for Martell. It also means that Nass gets to play another gain land and go to 6, which is going to effectively add an entire turn. Martell's at a nice even 20 life, but he's still, I think, the favorite from here to win.
Not a lot of cards left in Matt Ness's library.
No,
One of them's an Icy Blast.
I think that was it.
I
Oh,
do
yeah?
as well.
Was that it? Yes, that was it.
Wow.
Icy Blast. The question is it enough? Martell can kill 2 creatures here.
It's a lot. I don't know if it's enough. It taps
But over
everything.
2 turns, is it enough?
Right. It taps everything, and they're going to stay tapped.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everything. And they're going to stay tapped. And Martell cannot interact with that because he has way too many 4-powered creatures. He needs to kill 3 of them. He can only kill 1 in response and then 1 when it attacks.
Martell
Matt
really
Nass
needs
was
Martell needs a
digging-
dragon scale boon here very badly.
Do you play 1?
He does have 1 in his deck.
Wow.
Yeah, Matt's just going to, should just attack with everyone here, right?
Well,
There's no
I
red.
see a hand.
Thing is pushing the
Thing
more
says
forward.
no. I mean, he needs to kill him in 2 turns and be able to get around, say, a random creature on the ground.
And a random removal spell in hand.
Yes.
All right.
As it
All
turns
of them.
out, Martell has 2 random removal spells in hand and is probably going to have to use them here.
Oh, he only has 2 cards. Okay.
Yeah. Kill shot,
What's the damage
Obs
there?
on charm.
6,
So let's add it up
12,
here.
16.
No, it's not 12, it's 13, 17, 22. He gets a trigger from Pro.
I did miss the prowess trigger.
So here's kill shot.
He shows
It's a
he
Snowhorn
unmorphs the
Rider, though.
Snowhorn
It
Rider.
might still, even if he kills both, is it not enough?
Nope, not
No.
this.
It's not enough, and we have our champions.
Wow.
Matt Nass wins 2 games to 1 over Martell, pulls out the victory. Jesse Hampton, Jacob Wilson, Matt Nass win the GP. Wow.